of you have heard of Tophatter? Oh, great, 3 folks out of 10. That's 30%, really good, good. So what we are, to those of you who haven't heard of us, is we are a mobile shopping discovery platform. And we have a typical Silicon Valley story. 2 founders from Stanford. We also have the garage story for the Silicon Valley. You know, you have to have the garage, otherwise it doesn't really complete the profile. So it started about 6 years ago. And as you can see from the chart, we really kind of took off about 3 years ago and are doubling in GMV year on year. We are about 80 employees, and we have 2 offices. Now we are in San Francisco. But when we did start out, we were in Palo Alto, in the garage I was mentioning. And the only thing that does not fit in the checklist of a typical Silicon Valley company is we achieved profitability in 2015. So that's a little bit about us. And Tina did a great job of introducing me, so I don't think I really need to cover this page a lot. But I joined Tophatter about a year ago, and now not only do I do strategy, but I also run global sales operations. I had a really good stint at eBay, about 3 years, running the automotive group. And then prior to that, running online commerce at Dell and operations at GE. So our mission at Tophatter is all about fun and fulfillment. And the reason why we are here is, of course, to talk about the gamification element. So at Tophatter, our entire platform is built on fun and gamification. So what I'll do is, before I talk to you more about how the platform works and how we have weaved in gamification and e-commerce, let me just run a quick video, if you don't mind. So that video will give you context, since many of you have not heard of Tophatter.
We got these.
And this.
What a relief.
Oh my gosh. And I got a little bling for myself. It says nada.
How'd you like that? I don't think I need to have a presentation. Thank you. The video speaks for itself. It's really fun. It makes me smile all the time. So how do I do this? Where did I go wrong?
There you go.
Oh, there you go. So people ask me, what is the difference between you and all the other 100,000 marketplaces and e-commerce sites that are around? So the simple explanation is Amazon and typical marketplaces are very search-based. They're very intent-based. So for example, if I'm looking for a backpack for my son, then I will go to Amazon because I know exactly what I want, and I'll search the site. And what the site does is it basically does a match of what you have input. It does a best match, looks at the best sellers, best price, and it serves you up. Whereas what we do here at Tophatter, it's all discovery-based. You don't come to the site because you want a backpack or you want something for your living room. You come there because you want to be entertained. We ask our buyers, why do you use Tophatter? And the answers that we receive from them is largely, we were depressed, so we wanted to do some shopping, so we came on the site, or we are bored, or we just like to win. I'll tell you a little bit more on the format, but it has a very strong gaming component. Everything starts at $1, and every bid that you make, it actually incrementally increases your bid by $1. So if there are 11 people who bid in an item, the item will go from $1 to $12, and every auction ends in 90 seconds. So at 90-second point, whoever has the winning bid, the person, John, who beat Shelley for $12 will now win that item. So there's a gamification component. So people, that's really what attracts them to our site. And from a demand perspective, which is a very interesting concept, fascinating actually, is if you think about how you harvest demand on e-commerce sites like eBay or Amazon. I'll give you an example. So let's say that we have black dresses, lots of black dresses, but we don't have that many, and I'm saying we as in if I'm Amazon or eBay, I don't have small sized black dresses. So the sellers actually know there is a demand for size small, so I need to go in and list those so there will be demand. So what are they doing? They're just harvesting demand. Whereas on our site, since people aren't searching for it, all they're doing is generating demand. So I was traveling to work on Caltrain today, and I opened up the app and I saw something interesting. It was a Spanx for your arm. I don't know how many of you, mostly in this room, they're all gentlemen. I don't know if you know what Spanx is. Spanx is the best product available for womankind. I love it. It has changed the game, and for me especially. So I'm thinking, there's a Spanx for your arms? What the heck does that mean? It's a flint wrap that makes your arms look smaller. I never knew, I would never go searching for a Spanx for my arm. But there it was, and it was really highly in demand. There were at least 13, 14 people who were bidding on it. And so what our site has done, it has actually generated demand. It has created a lot of engagement. And of course, we are mobile first. We can't have all these snackable moments if you're not mobile. And from a business perspective, we're really displacing a $100 billion discovery market. Of course, a smaller market as compared to a utilitarian or retail intent market. This clicker is a little, oh, there you go. I just have to do it 3 times. So how does our business model function? We're like a typical marketplace where we connect buyers and sellers. We have about 5,000 sellers on our site, and they upload millions of products. And we have 20 million or so shoppers who come, who buy, and then they discover new items, and then we take a percentage of the sales and the proceedings. And so the last few slides are actually the most critical in terms of the takeaways for this presentation, in terms of like the gaming element. So I was talking a little bit about the search engine before in a typical e-commerce site. How that functions is the algorithms there, the search algorithms are matching keywords that you entered. Whereas what our algorithm, what we call as the auto scheduler, is literally what it's doing is it's making a prediction of demand of the items that is in our online warehouse, so to speak. So remember, I told you we have about 5,000 sellers and they upload a lot of listings, so they are in a virtual warehouse. And so the algorithm is constantly looking at what we have and then curating, pulling inventory from our online warehouse and then showing it in terms of auctions to the buyers. Now, how does that do that? This is a very fascinating business model because you have to have a real-time demand and supply balance. So just like you guys are all familiar with Uber and Lyft and how the real-time balancing happens, we need to do that at all times. So we're constantly looking at how many people are there and how much inventory are we going to offer. Because let's say we have a scenario where we have a lot of inventory and too few buyers, then our ASPs will be depressed, our pricing will be depressed. And the opposite, if we have too few inventory, too few products to buy, then they'll overvalue it. So the Spanx that I was talking about, which sold at $15, they may end up selling at $100, which is really doesn't make sense. So that's why the balance is very important. And we look at other factors just like every other marketplace in terms of shipping speed and seller quality and what have you. So this page is talking about the number of hours we spend on mobile. And I do think this looks like it's a typo. They say 5 hours. I think most of us spend 15 hours on a phone, literally. So it's fascinating to me. I've seen the journey of mobile commerce. It's so hard to shop on a small form factor, and just 5 years ago it was so hard, and today we're approaching 50% of all e-commerce is on mobile. And from a gaming perspective, 80% of top grossing Android apps are games. So this is a very important factor to understand as we design our products, because there's an influx of data, there's an influx of information, and so the gaming component actually drives more engagement and drives more conversion. And this chart really shows you, the little blue chart talks about buyer conversion, and the dark blue chart is bidder conversion. And I've worked in other e-commerce markets, and I've had a lot of online experience. The kind of conversion rates that we have at Tophatter is phenomenal. We usually have a low single-digit conversion rates everywhere else, but 15% is pretty high, so almost as close to an offline retail conversion number. It makes sense to have a high offline retail conversion number because you know what you want, you're going there, you can actually feel the product, you have a higher conversion rate. If you don't like it, there may be other things that you are attracted to because you're in the store. So that kind of discovery experience, along with the gamification and the entertainment experience, really helps drive engagement and conversion on our site. So this page is basically talking about how we put it all together. So what I probably did not explain a whole lot in detail earlier is a lot of our experiences are very personalized. So not only do our algorithms understand how many people are there, how much we need to push, and what we need to push, it also takes into consideration who you are, and what you do on the site. And it's all real time. As soon as you start engaging with the app, your bid, browse, and buy, or the interest in certain products, it does a very quick calculation of all that and personalizes your experience. So it's push-based, it's not demand-based, which means, again, you're not searching. It basically knows who you are, and it gives you that product. It's very real-time, and of course, it's entertaining. So the one thing that I didn't mention in the previous page, which everything else here covers, is the snackable element. We're a society now that is fairly ADD, and it's really hard to capture people's attention. So the less people have to think about things, the less people have to search for things, the faster and the better it is the experience for the buyer. So it is personal, effortless, real-time, and snackable. And this is the last page in my presentation, and it's really talking about how other companies are using the same philosophy of gamification. I don't have this here on this chart, but my son is a 10-year-old boy, and it's very hard for me to make him sit down in one place. But he spends 30-40 minutes on Khan Academy, and largely because he gets these little badges, and he's very excited about getting them. And he can go to the next level and then jam with his friends that he got the next badge. And I think that is gamification right there for you. And so how mundane your activity could be, like filing your taxes. Who likes filing taxes? I think there are just 2 people in the whole world who like that. But then Intuit does a good job of their ads make it sound like fun and takes the fear away from that activity. Or Slack, making communication more fun. We were discussing recently, we have a gentleman in our office who has a small baby. So somebody created emoticons of the baby in different moods: happy baby, upset baby. So when we want to communicate with Dwight, we actually communicate with an emoticon of his baby. If we are happy with him, the happy baby emoticon. It's hilarious, and we do so many crazy things with Slack. And I think that's fantastic. Gaming doesn't have to be a traditional game, but if you can incorporate fun into your product, then it drives engagement, it drives conversion, and all the good things that you need for your business. So I promised you that I'll rush through this so you guys can go to your happy hour. That's all I had. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I'll buy you all a drink for listening to my presentation.
Thank you, Sree. Do you have any questions for Sree? Yeah.
All right, so thanks for the presentation, Sree. First of all, I think it would be great to have a Tophatter for business as well. And and I don't know if this is a question or statement, but a lot of us are either we're participating in marketplaces on the business side, or we're managing marketplaces on the business side. And and they probably look a lot closer to like eBay versus sort of what Tophatter's doing.
Sure.
Is there something that you've seen core, and you kind of touched it, maybe it's mobile, but that's driving how people are making decisions to buy through mobile, that maybe we could take and apply to our own experiences with the marketplaces that we're participating? Because we're all trying to, what's happening, at least from my experience, is people are searching for X, all right, and they're getting a list of 20 things, and they're looking at the top 3, and that's it, right? And so, like, what are the things that maybe we should be doing or could be doing, or do we need just someone like Tophatter to build this for business software as well?
It's a very fascinating question. So let me answer the first part where you said, how do you differentiate yourself in a big? I think the more visual you can be in what you're listing, the easier it is. So I'll use the parallel of Tophatter is you have 90 seconds to make a decision as a buyer, whether you want to bid on it or not. And you also have to make a call that, okay, the price has now reached $15. Should I bid or am I out now? Is it too much for me? So what we tell our sellers is make sure that your listing has very good quality pictures and it reflects the value of the product. Because if you don't, then you don't get the value you need. But there's also the opposite, which is a different direction. They can overstate the value of the product, which we don't want either because it has bad buyer experience. So what I would say is, like I was talking about, people don't have the time today or the patience to do a lot of consideration. So as much as possible as you can be visual, or you can have other engaging forms of content, whether it's video or something that are very small and catchy, that'd be great. So, I mean, I don't know your business, happy to talk to you offline, but if you are listing on eBay or any of those platforms where you have video content and other ways to differentiate, that'd be fantastic. And then as far as the B2B piece of it is concerned, we've spoken about that. At the end of the day, we're a technology firm that is just connecting buyers and sellers. So at some point in time, we do see that there will be a value to bulk buy. And yeah, we may not have the same format. We don't need so much of gamification in a business environment, but we definitely are thinking of doing that. And then potentially even modularizing our technology. I think the e-commerce is generally flat. It's whereas ours is very responsive. Technology. So we know who you are and what you need. And I think that is the future of e-commerce. We're going away from the whole catalog search-based businesses to personalization. And so that's another piece of technology that we can potentially help you all with.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great presentation. Question. So I love what you've done with gamification with your buyers. I've seen some partner programs implement gamification to keep their partners engaged. Have you done this on the seller side? And what kind of impact and results have you seen with that?
We haven't, we're still a startup and we're every day trying to figure out how to hack away our business to growth. But the sell side is just about beginning to become more mature. And I love that. We've thought about that. We've thought about the traditional forms of community. And we do see some of our sellers are in China, and we do see that there's a lot of interaction that they have amongst them. So it's just because it's all a community. Even in the US, a lot of our sellers are in New Jersey and they all know each other. So there's a community element there. So we have thought about how can we drive gamification on top of the existing communities that we have. But we haven't had, enough investment. But definitely we'll take that as an input. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's all? All right, thank you so much.
Okay,
once again.
thank you.
See you all.